Hello, Jama Mustaine here. My very favorite free website, which is also on app or is an application on iPads and iPhones, is Seesaw. And so when you go to Seesaw, it is seesawlearning.squarespace.com, and this is the home page. I have had an account with them for about 3 years, but my school has sponsored, or our district has sponsored having an account for at least the last year and possibly 2 years. And so I have created a test group here for you to see. I would show you with my regular classroom, except their last names are attached to all of their work, and so I decided that it was probably best to just give you a test group. Seesaw is a digital learning journal that can be used to upload all different sorts of digital works, or even if you take a picture of something on a whiteboard and you can turn it into Seesaw. So this has been a way that my class has eliminated a lot of paper use, especially in reading rotations when they're in independent stations on their own. They will work on something on a whiteboard and turn it into Seesaw by taking a picture of it. So it's very simple to use. One of the amazing features that it has is activities. But before I get there, where sample student is right here, there will be your class listed. And so when your students turn different things in, you have to approve it. And then their parent also gets notification if they have signed up to view their work. And so it is a great way to share things with parents that you can't normally send home. So you also have access to see every kid's work and just their work, or right here where this video is right now is normally just a scrollable space where everybody's work is turned in, and it'll show you the newest on the top. But so sample student doesn't have anything, but that's where I would see his journal and see everything that he had turned in. So activities are a really great feature. They are normally activities that are all created by teachers, and you have the ability to also go in and create activities that fit your needs. I tried to make this video earlier today and assigned this activity. And so when your class goes in and you've assigned them something, they just click on the activities tab like I did, and they'll find it right here. So first I'll go and show you how to assign an activity, and then I'll show you from a student's perspective how you can complete that activity. So going to activities, you can see that there's an activity library. So you will click on the activity library, and then it'll pop up with the Seesaw activity library. And so as you can see, there are a lot of different possibilities here. You can search by grade level, you can search by subject. The possibilities are really endless, especially since you can go in and create something if you can't find it. So this just kind of shows you some things that have been recently searched for. These are featured authors for the grade level that I was working with and recently added for my grade level. So what I had done earlier is I went to multiplication, since I'm working with third grade, and I had just picked a random activity. So this was the one I found earlier. Just to show you something different, I will find a different one and use that for you. So you kind of just pick one. I will just pick a random one, so we'll go with this one. And so the instructions will be written. Sometimes teachers also record the directions, so for primary students it's great because they can just click the play button and listen to it. You can edit different things, so if you don't like the template that the teacher used, you can edit that as well. And then by sharing it, you'll find your class. This is the class that I was using last year, but I'm going to assign it to my test group so that we can look at it and share. Then it'll ask you sometimes if you want to email it to other teachers, and so if you've created something, that's a pretty cool feature. So then I'm going to go to test group, and there I can see the activity that I just assigned. So the next step for students, so again, like I said, they click on activities, and then they'll follow the directions that are listed right here. So their first step is to tap the add button, and then they'll click on the drawing tool, and then they're going to click on the microphone. And so their teacher is having them explain how they can find 8 times 7 using the distributive property. And so they will draw it while they're talking about it. Then this one is using labels or the drawing tool to just complete a worksheet. So again, reducing your use of paper. So your students would go to add. Their names will be listed here when you assign them something, and so they just click on their name, and that will put it into their portfolio when they're done. These are the different tools that they can use. So taking a picture, the microphone, text, and then you can look at more. And so you can add shapes in a background, which I have never used, so those must be pretty new. So the text tool, sometimes there's a drawing tool. Oh, drawing is at the bottom. So they've changed this, how this looks on computers, and I'm not entirely familiar with it yet. And you can decide what type of drawing you want to use. But it's sometimes easiest to just let them type, except my kids normally like to style it up. So you can change the style of things. You can change the color. It's just fun for them to be able to mess with those sorts of things. And then you're able to make it smaller, make it fit. So 8 times 5, we know that's 40. So you might type that in, make it so that it'll fit in the space, carry it over, and then you'll just continue to do that. So for this one, it might be easier for them to write it. So then if 8 times 5 is 40, what times 8 equals 40? Well, 5. So again, you can draw that in, and then when they're done, they press the check mark. It'll upload, it'll turn it in. When things are done under the teacher's account, you won't have to approve them. They go straight to the journal. But when they're logged in under the classes sign in, then you will have to approve them, and they'll pop up as a notification. So along with activities, Seesaw is great because of the communication tool that it has. So you can communicate with individual students, or you can communicate with certain families. And so when you communicate with a family, you're not having to send it out to everybody, but you can kind of use it as like a text messaging system to keep in communication with somebody about either work or really anything else that you might need to reach out to a parent about. So your messages are there, and then your notifications would be right here. I'm trying to go quick because I realize that this has become a very long video. So skills, you can assign standards to the activities and then kind of track your students' progress. And so this is where you put them in and what it looks like. You put whatever you would like to call it, a quick code if you know the standard code, and the subject that it goes with, the grade level, what category within that subject, and what's the description of your skill. And so you can add those and assign, when you do activities, you can assign that to a certain skill. And then the last feature that Seesaw has is a blog. And I've never used it before, but it's a great way for students to share with each other and also collaborate and communicate with classrooms around the world. One thing that I did not mention is that this is what it looks like when somebody turns it in. And once they have done that, you, as well as parents, have the access to comments. So you can tell them, great job, or hey, you might want to go check out box number 3, whatever your feedback may be, and then the student can go in and check that. This is where the skills would be if any of them were tagged, and you can also put folders. So if you want to keep things in, this is English, this is math, you have that option as well. Students like to get on the class login, and that's the only login students have. They don't have an individual one. And they can go in and like each other's work, comment on each other's work as well. So it's a great collaborative piece for them, and they have a lot of fun with it. They get to, sorry, my dogs are fighting. They are assigned an avatar or an emoji, and you can also let them change that and pick that. But you have to do that on your end as a teacher. So setup is in the wrench. You can change the name. You can look at your grade level. You can invite other teachers to be a part of your classroom. Your theme can be a different color. Your icons, so that when parents have multiple teachers using Seesaw, you can kind of pick what your icon is for your class. And then, like I said, for the students, here is the information on setting them up. You want to enable family access, and you can invite those families. It gives them a QR code on a paper, or they have a link that they can sign into. And it's just all right there. I do highly recommend this website, and I hope that you give it a try.